A lot of that is intuitive. It's very intuitive. For this body of work, monochromes, I wanted to do squares, and I wanted them to be small. And those are actually on these, we built these cradles, these boxes, they're actually painted on like a box. It's because I wanted them to stand out from the wall. I didn't want to frame them, so they needed to be small. One of the body of work that I completed before this last one, Yard, that was giant. Those were the big paintings, that 8 foot tall by 9.5 feet wide. You know, I think the smallest ones were 52 by 60, something like that. Those were the smallest paintings in that body of work. That I made a conscious decision right at the beginning. This was going to be big. And because there was an opportunity, I had been asked to show my work in a variety of locations, all of which were big. They had big walls, high ceilings. This was the time for me to try this. I had tried back in the early 90s to do big work, by the way. Boy, was that awful. You should have seen how awful that. I was not prepared. I was not ready for it. But I had the same intention. Okay, we're going to go big here. That stuff was miserable. The only thing that was worse than that was the first painting I've ever done. Which, by the way, coming clean here, was a clown painting. I did a painting of Emmett Kelly. I did a portrait of Emmett Kelly. And there were so many things wrong with that, I can't begin to tell you. Fortunately, I was very young when I did it, so I got plenty of
before
excuses.
the academic training.
Well before that. I mean, I think on one of his hands, he's holding his, you know, that stick with the satchel on it. There's 6 fingers on his hand. This is, and for whatever the reason is, this is the thing that I kept. You know, I threw out so much stuff, you know, as I said earlier, you know, my early work, which again, I regret. On the back, you know, this was done on one of those, for the artists here, they know the Frederick's canvas panel cardboard things on the back. It's got a place for your name and the medium and the title of the piece and all of that. I don't know what I was thinking. I put a price on it. And I think the price is $1,003. As a kid, you know, what are you thinking? Not a great way to start your career doing clown painting.
Yes. A question about size. What is the differences and the challenges as an artist of working on extremely large canvases and extremely small canvases? How do you, I'm thinking of perspective and, you know, just distance, and which is easier and what are challenges?
Neither is really easy. Surprisingly enough, the smaller ones sometimes take longer than the bigger ones. Things at a small scale don't always look good on a big scale, and you learn that lesson when you scale them up. Because as I said, I work from sketches. My ideas and so forth come from. They start very small, so I may think, wow, that looks all right. I'm going to pursue that, and then you make it like this. Not so good. Working large is very physical because you have to get farther back from it. So there's lots of back and forth, you know, lots of bigger brushes, larger tools, more space, you know, more square inches to cover. But invigorating at the same time. I find that for myself, working smaller is more meditative. You know, you kind of, you know, sometimes you sit for something very small. Nancy?
I have a question for you, Craig. I'm looking over here at Steve Sauter and the bull or the Holstein gal. I'm not sure which.
That's a cow.
I know it's a cow. But there's a conversation going on here, and I just keep seeing so much in this painting, and it's so active to me. Would you kind of comment and talk about the idea, the generation of it?
That, I was, what's the year on that? I believe I was one of the years I was serving on the board at the art school.
2008.
And Steve Sauter was doing the same. And
So you're in disguise, right?
he is such a character. When Steve Sauter is in the room, you know it. And I just think he's fantastic. I really like the guy. He has modeled for me for a number of paintings. This being one, he modeled for the Last Supper painting. I'm trying to think of some other things that he's modeled for. But he, the form and the geometry of his head and his character were perfect for this farmer confronting its crop, because that's what they are.